The fenland drains, a vast network of waterways spanning miles across the land, are home to some truly elusive pike. I spent a couple of days exploring these waters in hopes of catching one of these fish, and with only 2 small fish to show for my efforts, it was time to move on and search for more promising spots.
And that is it. So we'll give this an hour and then we'll move, I don't know, maybe half a mile to a mile down the drain. These drains, like I say, they go on for miles and miles. And the psychological aspect is always, where is the big pike? They could be, like I say, 10 mile that way, 5 mile that way, they could be, because they're all interlinked, they could be 5 mile down there. You just never know. So I'm going to be venturing on all different drains. Now, like I say, there's not huge amounts of big pike in these venues. You know, you're not knocking out 20s every 5 minutes, so finding them is the difficult part, and then if all goes to plan, then there's going to be a few big gills shown. So we're coming up to 9 o'clock, I've set my timer for an hour, and yeah, we'll have an hour here, then we'll move probably half a mile up. And if you've seen the channel, you'll know that waiting for him most of the time pays off, but I just fancied a bit of a change, so I thought I'd do 4 or 5 miles today, and then tonight around 3:30, just before it starts to get dark, we'll bivvy up, do a night session. Luckily today we've got no rain forecast, which is a blessing. Yesterday it rained pretty much most of the day, so it made life difficult for filming, and it did affect the results. It was like bright sunny skies for 3 hours, then next minute torrential rain for 5 hours, and it was pretty much the kiss of death for fishing. But now, overcast, fairly cool, these conditions are absolutely prime for catching a fish, so we just need to find them today now, simple as that.
After spending an hour in the swim and seeing no signs of fish, it was time to move further down the drain.
Yeah, I think we'll give this one a go. Have an hour. This one's in the cygnets, absolutely beautiful this time of year. Margins are slightly deeper on this one, but we've got a bridge to his left hand side there, so we're on the edge of the angling pressure, and yeah, I think this might be good for an hour. Give this a bit of wally. Oh yeah, nice. Got to be a few pike knocking around here. You know when it starts to get quite tricky on venues, when you're only catching the smaller fish, like the small jacks. And yesterday I had a tiny little jack. Then a few hours after the rain, I think it was, we had another small one, which is pretty much standard for these drains. But you don't, it's very rare you catch the tiny little ones. I think it was only about half a pound. I'm surprised it even got the sardine in its mouth. Right, we are ready to rock and roll. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, pot, yeah, fish on. Oh, has it come off? Oh, it's come off. Oh, denied. Couple of seconds short. Oh, you little tiny little pike. Look, it's pulled the bait off the trebles, and that was banded on as well. Oh my days. That's not too bad. I don't mind losing a small fish. It's when it's the bigger ones. Right, I'm gonna get a fresh bait on here, get it back out on that far margin. This is why I like to stagger my baits. I want to know where the fish are. So you never know, there might be some coming through that far margin. Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly the same spot. So we've got about 10 minutes left, and then we'll get wrapping up shooting, and then we'll move further down the drain. Can't believe that small little pike. You could just see it skim through the water, tiny little thing. And that's, you know, this time of year, if you get a lot of aborted takes and you're wondering what it is, it's always them. Always the small little jack pike just coming through. The bait's too big for them. They're trying to pick it up and swim away. And most of the time, if you've got a soft bait like I use, they can sometimes just pull it off. Especially when you're pulling against the fish as well, it can just come off that easy. If it had been a big pike, then it wouldn't have been as aggressive, I don't think. I think it had just been a case of just a couple of bleeps hitting to the fish in them. it'll slowly start moving and you feel that heavy plod. But when it's a small fish, they're like, it's like having a rat on the end, it's just moving around all the time. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna stay even there. There could be a possibility of another fish. I think 1 hour is more than enough, and then it's just time to move on. Like I say, there is a bridge probably 100, maybe 200 yards further down to my left. I'm guessing a lot of people are going to fish that. So I always envision it wherever you're going to get hammered with anglers, where they're going to be fishing it all the time. The big pike are always going to be on the edge of it, and I've had quite a few big fish on this venue thinking that way. Being on the edge of where everyone fishes. Some I haven't even shared on the channel. I wasn't even filming proper sessions. I just come down, I was leapfrogging, moving up and down, and I managed to catch a few fish and some really nice ones as well. And the videos at the time, the quality wasn't that good. I didn't really know half the stuff I know now to do with camera work and stuff. So after all, I'm sure that, did that move? Or is that just my eyes? I'll have to look back at the footage, but I'm sure that moved a little bit. Let me just tighten it up just in case. It might be me. No, fish on. Yeah. Yeah, only just hooked in the scissors. Come on then, little fella. Let's get you in. Tiny little thing. And that is the first one of the session. So we've got probably 5 minutes left. I'm going to start wrapping up. We'll start heading down the drain, go another half a mile, give it a go and see what else we can find. But I mean, look at the markings on that. Not massive, but beautiful looking fish. You'd probably think that was from a gravel pit with the quality of the fish. Absolutely stunning. So we'll get him back, get wrapped up, and then we'll shoot off and see if we can find any bigger pike. But yeah, that is absolutely beautiful. There you go. Lovely. What have we got? Like I say, these go on for miles and miles, literally, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful to fish. So difficult fishing trying to catch these big ones. And this peg looks absolutely perfect. Nice bit of space, 3 rods. Drain looks a little bit more shallow here by the look of it. We've got plenty of space, and like I say, there is more features on these than pretty much any other venue you could possibly imagine to fish, but that far margin, just reed lines all the way along. So that's going to be the right hand rod, and then get one tucked down this margin. So right, let's crack on. Right, so fresh sardine. We're going to go for, thinking, far margin along them reed lines. That'd be nice. Might be a good patrol route for them. And like I said before, it wouldn't surprise them if we catch a few small ones this session. But the drains aren't fishing that well, if I'm honest. So I mean, we could blank for the next couple of days, but I don't mind that. Right, let's get this one out. I mean, them reed lines look absolutely beautiful, really nice. It's about 12, I think, something like that, just gone. And we'll stay here till about 1 o'clock, and then I've got a bit of a cold actually. We'll stay till here about 1 o'clock, and then we'll shoot about half a mile up, give that a go. I think there's a bridge down there as well. It's been a while since I've been down this stretch on the bottom end. We'll give that a go for an hour, then we'll move to one more swim, and obviously it gets dark early now, so I'll set the bivvy up and everything. And that section at the top end, it like tees off. The drain goes round, and then there's a little side drain. Like I say, these gone for miles. You've got 5 miles that way, 6 miles that way. You can go 10 miles down there. That's why it's so difficult to catch the big pike. So what I'm thinking is when it tees off to like a junction, it might be a good holding area for some of the fish. Could be wrong, but this is why we do it. You've got to keep trying. I mean, I could blank now for the rest of the session, blank tomorrow, but yeah, you've just got to put the timing in. It's the only way to do it. Otherwise, you know, doing a day session on places like this, you've got no chance. You might get lucky at some point, but when you're on the search for them, when it's really cold like today, I mean, I looked on the clock and it was about 1 degree today, and tonight's going to be about -2, so it's going to slowly start creeping down, and that's when the fishing gets difficult. Oh, don't tell me it's Deborah. Oh, no fish on. Yep. And we've got another little small one here. Like I said before, these pike, it's always the smaller ones. You can catch quite a few of them, and he's only just stuck. It wouldn't surprise me if he comes off, to be honest. They can be quite cagey. And bear in mind, these are pike that are relatively small, you know, anything from, I don't know, a couple of pound to 5, 6 pound. Right, come on, little fella. It's encouraging though, getting a few bites. I've got to be careful I don't fall in the drain, because these swims are quite rocky. Come on then, mate. And I think that's a leisured bait, possibly. Yeah. Yeah, the popped up bait's on the middle one. Oh. Right. Like I say, it's a good bit of sport while you're trying to catch these big pike, but look at them markings, absolutely stunning fish. So that is the second one of the session. You know, it's time for a move now. We'll move half a mile down, see if we can pick any big gills up there. But yeah, look at the markings on them, absolutely stunning, only small, but a great bit of sport. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the drains. So we'll get him back and then we'll go from there. But yeah, what a lovely pike, wicked. He's a feisty little pike, aren't you, mate? That's the one, lovely. Right, that's that done. It's time to shoot off. 2 fish, 2 swims so far, not too bad. Let's see if they get any bigger. These pike have been really picky with the baits. I bet this has come off. No, still on. There's been so many small pike hanging around these drains. I mean, talking anything from, you know, a couple of pound to upper singles, but yeah, really small one. They're ravenous at the moment. They're just getting for all these fry in the margins. Tiny little pike. It's pretty much uniform these past couple of days. This is what I've been catching. The bigger pike have been nowhere to be seen, and a few have been caught. Come on then, little fella. Yeah, he's only just hooked in the scissors. He might come off, actually, looking at it. Come on, mate. Oh, he's a scrapper. We've got you, mate. This is the average ones I've been catching. I'm struggling to get amongst any of the bigger ones, but I'm hoping that down this bottom end we can get a few. But I mean, look at the markings. Stunning little pike. Look at it. Proper ravenous pike. There's loads of them about here moving for the small fry, so I'm hoping that there's a few big gills hanging around in these margins, and if we struggle today, maybe tonight we can get some action for maybe a few mid doubles. It would be nice for a 20, but they are few and far between on here, but you never know what's around the corner. So we'll get him back and then hopefully we can get some more. But yeah, that is a lovely pike. So we've got probably 10 minutes left. Light levels are slowly dropping. I think we've got probably an hour and a half before it's going to be dark. So I need to be fairly quick on choosing the right location. That's key, otherwise I'll be camping. So part of me was thinking, do I go to the top end, give it a go, or should I give it a miss? But I think what I'm going to do now is wrap all the rods up and then we'll shoot down there. We'll have a look. If I'm not feeling it, then it might be a case of, I'm not sure, I really don't. I might go further down the drain and give that a go. But I haven't done much time up here, so it might, I think the last time I was up here, it was like -6, and it was at the top end, and obviously, as you can imagine, it was really shallow. Hardly anything was happening, but it's not overly cold. I mean, it's going to be -1 tonight, so not very cold at all. So I think it might be a case of give that a go. We'll go and have a look. If it looks any good for a bite, then we'll fish there. If it doesn't, then it might pay me to move further down this drain, further back, and have a night session there. But I need to be quick because I've got to set everything up and whatnot. So yeah, I'll get everything packed away now. We'll shoot up there, have a look. If it looks good, we'll get the rods cast out. I'll set the bivvy level up for the sort of evening time. If not, then I'll drive back down the drain, find a nice looking swim, and then we'll fish there. Right, let's have a quick look. Oh, that's shallow. That's very shallow. Yeah, this might not be the one. Maybe a little lead around there. Actually, this might not be a good peg to fish. This is why I always like to have a lead around, just to double check how deep it is, or if it's very snagger. No. Oh, that's a bit of a pain. Oh, right. It might be a case of, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm all set up. I'm absolutely knackered. The amount of miles we've done today and moving, it's yeah, it can be productive, and sometimes you hardly get anything. I mean, we've had a couple of small ones. I wouldn't say it was overly productive, but it's been nice to move up and down these drains. But we're now settled in. New swim. I don't think I've ever fished this one before, all this section here. So everything's set up. It's literally a case of casting the baits out. Right, we'll go for the opposite side of the drain. I don't think we're going to have any problems with debris tonight because there's hardly any sort of bits coming through. So just gently cast this out to that far margin. There's a nice reed line there. But having said that, there's reed lines across the whole drain, so yeah, sometimes it doesn't really make a difference, and it is quite shallow there anyway, but it just looks nice. So right, we've covered all bases, so if any fish do come through, we'll catch them. Hopefully no small ones. The stock of these drains are quite small, anything from a jack to upper singles, and then when you start catching the bigger fish, they can be few and far between. I mean, they could be located miles away from here, but when you have your spells where you're catching a few of them, it's always good to just keep coming back as often as you can to try and get a few of them, because they could be gone within days or even weeks, and they not return for, you know, it could be years before they come back into this peg again. You just never know. That's why it's so exciting when you're on these drains. Right, we are pretty much ready for action.
As winter comes and it gets colder, it's harder to catch fish. It's all about trying your luck. To catch big pike, you have to work hard for it.
Now, there's not huge amounts of these nowadays in the drains, so when you catch them, you've got to cherish every moment. You really have. So look, look at that. That is an absolutely clonker of a pike. It really is. Look at the length. It's such a, you know, it's a pleasure to be catching these kind of fish. And like I say, there's not many of them about nowadays. So when you do catch them, you've got to cherish every moment. But what a beautiful, beautiful pike. Well, good morning, and it's about 8:30. Last night was a bit of a pain, if I'm honest. It was dropped down to about -2, so it was fairly cold, not too bad. Everywhere was freezing over, and then they started running the drain off quite fast. So I ended up, believe it or not, going down to fishing one rod, because every 5 minutes the rods were just being pulled, and even that rod just kept me awake all night. But I thought I've got to have at least one rod fishing, otherwise it's pointless even being here. So yeah, just all night long, and then they stopped about 5:30, 5:45 running it off. So I got a couple of hours kip, and yeah, it was very quiet, hardly anything at all. And it didn't surprise me, if I'm honest. I mean, with the small ones we was catching yesterday, I was expecting maybe a small one. I was hoping, you always hope for a big fish, but most of the time it might be a few small ones coming through, and there wasn't even any small ones in this area. So I'm thinking it might be tough for these next couple of weeks on these drains. I really do, with the weather. I mean, most of the time it's been really bright days and really cold nights, which isn't the best weather conditions, if I'm honest. If it's nice and overcast and fairly mild, that's the best time to be out. So it's always fluctuating this time of year in December. So I think now I'm going to end the video here, and I'll start wrapping up, and my next video is going to be probably a day session on these drains. I'm going to do 24 hours in a spot that I've got my eye on, and then we'll go from there. Either a day session or a 24-hour session, I'll see how I feel, and then that'll be it on the drains. And we've got a handful of day ticket waters I'm going to be going to, and then the river, hopefully by then I'll be okay to fish, because we've had so much rain and whatnot over these past couple of weeks. It's just absolutely hammering through at the moment, and then we'll just sort of progress through the season, try and catch some big pike. So I'd just like to thank everybody for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.